So we've all been there, right? The Sephora VIB sale comes around twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year, name something else. And you have a couple things in your shopping cart that you've had there for a couple weeks, or you've had some stuff in your likes. Nothing is for sure, but then once the sale comes along, you're like, ooh, give me everything. So you just start dumping things in your shopping cart, and then you end up spending way too much. Well, this video hopefully is going to help you, if not hurt you. I have put together a curated list of skincare and all the makeup that I would recommend that you purchase this time around for the Sephora VIB sale. Hopefully you can find something, or hopefully it'll help you make up your mind whether to purchase or not to. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, then welcome. My name is Christina, and on my channel we talk all things beauty from my own experiences. So if you're looking for the best and most honest how-tos and reviews from a consumer's perspective, then make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave any comments that you have for me down below. So as I said in the beginning of the video, I put together a list of all the products that I think that you should purchase during the Sephora VIB sale, and there are a couple of caveats here. So I am going to be posting a separate video with some of the kits that Sephora will be carrying throughout the holiday season. Those are going to be its separate things, so there are definitely some products that I really enjoy that I wanted to put in the list, but I'm saving them for that holiday kit list video. So stay tuned for that in case you have your eye on a couple of kits and you want to see which ones I think are worth the money. So to give you guys a little bit of a rundown on what the Sephora VIB sale is, I'm sure you are familiar, but if you're not, I'll leave a link in the description down below that kind of covers everything. So what that is twice a year, usually in the springtime and the winter time, Sephora holds a sale. Pretty much everything that is usually excluded will be included in this sale. And depending on what tier you are in membership for Sephora, depends on the amount of money off that you get. So my sale actually opens on the 28th of October, and then the VIB sale starts on November 1st, and then the insider sale starts on the 3rd, and all of them end on November 7th. Along with that, Sephora collection is 30% off, and it starts on the 28th to the 7th for everybody. So for me, whenever the sale rolls around, I typically focus on a lot of skincare products as well as foundations, because these are things that I don't necessarily use every single day. However, whenever the sale does roll around, it's a great time to test things out and try things that you've had your eye on. And I definitely have a lot more products that I really enjoy from Sephora, but these are the things that I feel like justify purchasing it on a discount, you know? So there are some lipsticks and stuff that I really love and really enjoy from Sephora, but I typically go through those more often. If it's like a lip balm or something, I'll wear those pretty much daily, so I can justify buying it more often and not on sale. I'm going to be starting with skincare, and then I'm going to work my way over to makeup. I'm going to try to go quickly through all the products. I may not touch really in depth on them, so if you have any additional questions for me, leave them in the comments down below so I can interact with you that way. So the first product I have right here is the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm in the shade Vanilla Beige. So the formulation is nice and thick, but it's still thin enough to be able to spread it all over your lips. It has just the right amount of oil in it, I feel like. And the Vanilla Beige shade is such a beautiful nudie brown beige that goes really well with my skin tone. And it's really nice to just throw on throughout the day. If I have some errands to run and I want a little bit of color, then I'll wear something similar to this. Next, of course, we have the Paula's Choice 2% BHA liquid exfoliant with salicylic acid. Now, my skin really loves salicylic acid. It reacts really, really nicely to it, opposed to benzoyl peroxide. So this is my exfoliant of choice. I think that this is a really great beginner to advanced chemical exfoliator for pretty much anyone. I find that it feels really nice on the skin, it dries down and absorbs very quickly, and it's non-irritating for my skin type. So the next product I actually don't have any more of, but I do plan to pick it up during the sale. It's the Laneige Cream Skin Toner. It's kind of like a milky texture, but it's a very, very thin milk texture. Think of it as like a 2% milk. Like, it has that same type of texture, and I really like this toner because I find that it's very gentle on the skin. It typically just hydrates my skin and softens it. I find that it really helps when I feel like my skin's super dehydrated, and it's just easy to layer, really nice and absorbent, and it doesn't feel sticky on the skin either. Next product I also do not have because I used it up, but I plan to pick it up. It is the Pharmacy Feeling Good Hyaluronic Acid Serum. Now, I know that you don't have to spend a ton of money on a good hyaluronic acid serum. However, I do want to say that whenever I ran out of this serum, I noticed a drastic difference in my skin. So this serum for me was super hydrating and very plumping. It almost made my skin look brighter and plumper almost immediately after using it. I think that it layers really nicely, and the texture is a very nice serum-y, creamy texture, and it doesn't feel sticky on the skin, at least from what I can remember. It's been a little while, but I just remember really loving this morning and night. It's just a really great staple. Now, if you do have a hyaluronic acid that you enjoy more, that's for less money, then by all means go for it. But I think that this one is so worth the money, even more worth it when it's on sale. My next recommendation is this Pharmacy Green Clean Cleansing Balm. I'm actually almost out of this. I just have this small tub of it, but I do plan on purchasing the larger full-sized one. It's so gentle on the skin and it's super emollient. It melts down into the hands almost immediately, and then you're able to kind of just wipe it on and cleanse your skin, and it has really nice slip to it. I find that it takes off the makeup super easily, even waterproof makeup like waterproof mascaras. There's not an intense scent to it. If anything, it's just a very subtle, clean scent, and I find that this washes away really nicely without leaving a greasy or oily film on the skin. It's just a really great overall cleansing balm, especially when you're traveling. I find cleansing balms are the way to go for makeup remover. This is the Tatcha Water Cream Moisturizer, something I never thought that I would ever purchase just because that price point is so high, but I did, and I absolutely love it. I can totally understand why people think that this is the most amazing moisturizer. So it's just a very subtle, very clean, almost citrusy scent, but it is so subtle. I only smell it when I'm kind of like seeking the scent, Even though it's a water cream, it does have a little bit of creaminess to it, but it is kind of like a hybrid with a gel cream. I find that this is super lightweight on the skin. It doesn't leave me feeling heavy like I have a layer of moisturizer on top. It really absorbs into the skin very nicely, and I think that it really plumps and hydrates my skin. And every time I use this, I just feel like my skin feels super soft, very supple, and mixed with a sunscreen, I don't find that it feels like I have layers and layers of skincare on before putting makeup on, or just like going about my business without makeup. It just feels wonderful. It works well with everything. No pilling whatsoever. It's great. Also, it is anti-aging, so those are things that I kind of look for in my skincare nowadays. This one is quite new to my collection, but I have been loving this so much. They actually sent this to me a while back, and this is the Ulla Henriksen Strength Trainer Peptide Boost Moisturizer. Now, this also is pretty expensive for a moisturizer. However, this is really good. It's a very different texture than any other moisturizers that I'm using currently. So this does have more of a solid texture, and it kind of holds its texture really nicely. It's just a thicker cream. And this actually has peptides, amino acids, ceramides, and collagen to help with moisture in the skin. It boosts elasticity. It's supposed to improve lines and fine wrinkles. So again, really nice for anti-aging. I do find that even though this is like a thicker consistency, it really spreads evenly on the skin, and it almost feels a little bit silky. It does have a little bit more of a lasting, like moisturized feeling to this skin, but my skin pretty much absorbs the majority of this moisturizer, and it feels so nice, almost feels plumping without feeling heavy. I actually like this for morning and night use. I think that it works either way for me, and so far my skin has been really loving this, and I have no complaints. It is quite pricey, which again is why it's on this list. I definitely think that it's worth the money. I'm obsessed with sunscreens. I think it's the most important part of your skincare routine, and the first one that I have to recommend to you guys is my tried and true Supergoop Glow Screen. Now, the Glow Screen is my favorite, along with just the regular Play sunscreen from Supergoop, but this one is really nice because it kind of doubles as a primer. So you do get that sunscreen, and you can also use it as a primer and just skip that before going in with any makeup or foundation. It's a really beautiful consistency. Because it is a chemical sunscreen, it is going to be lighter and it has that sheen to it, but there's no glitter particles in it whatsoever. I think that it lays beautifully on the skin. It works for so many different skin tones because it is just that sheer wash of like a sheen, and it blends into the skin really well. And I feel like my skin absorbs it really nicely, and it just looks really beautiful if you only want to wear sunscreen throughout the day. Next up, we have this sunscreen. It is the Shiseido sunscreen stick with SPF 50 plus, and this is just a super simple sunscreen stick that I love to use and stick in my purse anytime I go anywhere. This is an amazing sunscreen stick because it feels non-greasy and very lightweight, and also it's clear, so you can put it right on top of any makeup that you already have on. Now I will say it will pick up a little bit of that makeup, but it's not going to displace it completely to where it's super obvious. So I'll kind of take my fingers and then I'll dab it on there, and that's how I'll typically reapply it if I don't want to just go ahead and like smear the whole thing on my face. I love to use this like on my arms, like if I'm driving, I'll use it like on my arms and my shoulders. I'll put it like all over my chest and then just rub it in. And sometimes if we go out and my husband forgets to wear sunscreen, I'll have this in my purse so he can very easily and quickly just rub this on and then pat it all over his face and be good to go. Tower 28 Magic Hour Blush. This is their Beach Please Cheek and lip tint, I believe, and this is in the shade Magic Hour. Mine is completely destroyed because I use this all the time and I just go in with a brush and go crazy. I actually have this on my cheeks today and I just love this shade specifically so much. I actually have a handful of this formulation in different shades, but this one is by far my favorite. I was most hesitant to purchase this shade actually for my skin tone because sometimes with these tones they can come off a little light grayish pink almost on medium skin tones, but I got a little sample of it and then I purchased it right away because it was the most beautiful, just light rosy nude shade, and I've been in love with it ever since. So I think that this is an amazing formulation. It gives you really nice pigmentation, but it's also very hydrating on the cheeks. It lasts all day too, and it also builds really nicely on top of powders. So if you go in and you just want to use this and then you powder your face and you put a little bit more on, which is something I did today, it still looks beautiful, still looks really flawless, and I just love this. I love this shade and this formulation so much. Next up, we have the Rare Beauty blush in the shade Joy. Now, everyone talks about these liquid blushes for good reason. They're super pigmented, but they're still a very thin consistency, very lightweight, and a little bit goes a very long way. I think that this muted peach looks really great on every skin tone that I've seen it on, and I especially love it for like that burnt looking cheek, you know what I mean? It actually dries down really nicely. I would say the Tower 28 one stays a little bit more hydrated, whereas this one kind of dries down and turns into a matte, at least this formulation. There are different formulations. I think there's like matte and luminous or satin or something like that, but Joy is definitely one of my top picks from the different shades. 2 cream eyeshadows or liquid eyeshadows that I would recommend. I don't have any eyeshadow palettes here because honestly, I haven't been gravitating towards like huge eyeshadow palettes. Hasn't really been my thing recently, but I have been loving my one and done eyeshadows, especially cream ones. And the first one that I want to talk about is this Rare Beauty one in the shade Nearly Neutral. Now, I did recently speak about this in my favorites video. I will link that down below if you guys are interested in seeing that one. It's very moussey and it's the perfect pinky brown shade, I think, for a lot of skin tones. It doesn't come off too intensely brown or too intensely pink, and it is a little thicker of a moussey texture, but it's an opaque matte shade here. It's a great everyday shade or a base for any sort of eyeshadows, you know, and it just looks beautiful. It blends really nicely, and I really love that you don't have to use a primer with this. And then the next one is the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize in the shade Amber Gold. Now, this formulation in general is really beautiful. Any shade that you end up purchasing, I think would be a really great option, but I am just so in love with this formulation. I've had this for about a year now, and I haven't used a ton of it, but there was a good amount of time when all I was using was this eyeshadow, and it's what I'm wearing today and the only thing I'm wearing on my eyes today. And I love that it's multi-dimensional. It almost looks like you put in more effort into your eyeshadow than you did. And depending on how the light hits this on your eyes, it can look a little more deep and dark in some areas and a little brighter in others, which makes it a really great one and done eyeshadow. And this shade Amber Gold is really nice because it's a little coppery and it's a little bit gold as well. And again, I don't have to use a primer with it, which is a really great thing with a lot of cream eyeshadows. I find that I don't have to use a primer with them. I really like to focus on purchasing foundations and more expensive makeup products during the sales. So foundations, again, are a really high up one for me, especially when I can't justify purchasing them for everyday use, you know what I mean? So I can only really justify them for one, when I'm filming a video, and two, when they're on sale. First one I want to recommend is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin. I have this in the shade 7 Neutral. Now this one I feel like a lot of people really loved or a lot of people really hated. I am one of the people that really loved it. I have a full video on it. I'll link it down below if you want to see more in depth about it. But essentially, I feel like this gives you such a hydrated, natural look. It doesn't look like you have a greasy foundation on top. It doesn't last the longest out of all the foundations that I'm going to talk about, but it is one of the more natural looking foundations I think that Sephora has to offer. This reminds me a lot of just like a CC cream, and it's beautiful. It has a really good coverage, and other products layer really well on top of it. Next, we have the Lancome Teint Idole and Ultra Wear Care and Glow Foundation in the shade 335W. Now, this one actually really surprised me. I was not expecting to love this as much as I do. This one is a serum foundation, so it is going to be more on the hydrating side of things. So if you do have very oily skin, I'm not quite sure if this is going to be the one for you, but I find that this wears really nicely when I powder it, and it just looks so beautiful right off the bat. I think that it makes the skin just look perfected and almost like you just have a really amazing skincare routine. Even though it's a serum foundation, it still powders really nicely, doesn't look super cakey or anything like that. Again, go watch that video if you want to know more about it, but I would recommend it most definitely if you're looking for a very good natural hydrating foundation. Next is a very quick favorite of mine. I recently spoke about this in a favorites video, and I also have a dedicated video on this one. This is, let me turn it around. This is the Haus Labs Triclone Skin Tech Foundation in the shade 260 Light Medium Cool. I would suggest that you go in store and shade match and get matched for this because it is quite different from a regular shade matching instance, you know. This is a very beautiful medium to high coverage, I would say. This is something that I would reach for if I'm looking for something to really perfect my face. It doesn't add any oils and it doesn't take away any oils, like it doesn't mattify your skin. It just really keeps your skin in a perfect balance of whatever your natural skin is in the moment, you know. It doesn't add any grease or any oil and hydration, and it also doesn't mattify the skin whatsoever. I feel like it just keeps you in that perfect medium. It doesn't look super cakey, doesn't emphasize any textures, wears very long. I can go an entire day and wear this and still think that it looks beautiful, and it powders down really nicely as well if I need to retouch. Another very difficult one to shade match actually is this Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation. I have this in the shade 8, which is not at all what I had anticipated when I went to pick this up. Again, I have another video dedicated to this foundation, so go watch that if you want to see the in-depths of it. This is a very long wear foundation. I would say this is a medium to full, like buildable coverage. This is a little bit more mattifying than the other foundations. This is what I have on my skin today. I find that the baseline is really nice. It's still hydrating, but it's a little bit mattifying, so it doesn't add any hydration or unnecessary, you know, oils to the skin. Even if my oils come throughout the day, I don't find that they're extreme or they're taking over my skin. And I really like that everything that I put on top of this blends really well. Nothing gets patchy or cakey, and it's just a really beautiful canvas. Last foundation that I wanted to talk about, you guys know I have to talk about this. It's the Danessa Myricks Blurring Balm in the shade 6 or in the shade 4. So I originally picked this up in the shade 4, repurchased it in the summertime in shade 6, but honestly 4, 5, or 6 I feel like I could do. But I have a video that I did back in May talking all about this if you want to see how that weared throughout the day. I really love that it's multi-use, so this could really be a good primer. They have a translucent or universal shade that you can use as a primer to kind of like perfect your base before going in with another foundation, or you can use it as a foundation, which is my preferred method of using this. Or if you want to use it as a bronzer, like an overall bronzing product, you could do that too. It's very pigmented though, so I would say go in with a light hand. This is the only one that I would categorize under mattifying, but it's not drying. So to start off, it almost dries down as a powder, but it doesn't look like a powder. It doesn't sit like a powder. It's not cakey like one either. And it has Absolute, which is supposed to help control the oils throughout the day. So it's really catered towards people that do have that normal to oily skin tone like I do. And it's just an overall great product, really nice to travel with as well. And it truly makes your skin look airbrushed. Every time I use this, I feel like my pores looked filled in, my lines aren't accentuated, and they're just like brushed over. Just really beautiful product, really, really nice formulation. All right, I only have one bronzing type of product here to recommend to you guys today, and it is this one, my tried and true Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer in the shade Medium. And I actually just hit pan today when I was doing my makeup. It's what I have on today as my all over bronze, and I'm just thoroughly obsessed with this. So it has a very, very thin feeling consistency, which is beautiful, but it holds its pigmentation. So as you swirl your brush in there, it almost looks like it's gonna be sort of like an oily, creamy texture, but whenever you place it onto the skin, it is the perfect pigmentation. It's not like crazy, and it's very easy to blend because of that almost oily texture, but I don't find that it's greasy. I truly feel like this is the perfect middle ground from a warm and a cool tone bronzer, and if you put it together you would get this, and it just looks so amazing on my skin. I've been using it ever since I did a video on it, this and the powder. I find that it works with everything, like any foundation that I've used it with, any like sprays or setting sprays, if I put it on top after spraying, it looks perfect. I just can't say enough good things about this. I think everyone should have one of these in their collection. It's just beautiful. Again, I recently talked about this in my favorites video, but this is the Kosas concealer. I talk about this pretty much everywhere. It's my favorite concealer to date. It's lightweight, it has medium coverage. It's not going to give you super high coverage if you have very dark under eyes, unless you build it up, which you could, because it doesn't accentuate those textures under the eyes or like fine lines or anything like that. So it doesn't sit funny once you powder it. It does look very natural and very airbrush. And this tone for me in the shade 6 is perfect to give me just a little bit of a brightening effect under the eyes, and I just love it. It's the best. All right, last category is still makeup, but it's going to be lip products. And for someone that does a lot of lip swatch videos, I would say that there's only a couple of lip products here. The first product I have here, which is also the one that I have on my lips, is this Fenty Slip Shine in the shade Goji Gang. Now I have this in Goji Gang, and I think Cookies and Cream. I love both of them, but this one is definitely my favorite. I love this formulation. It is so good. So it's definitely a lipstick, but it does give you the same shine as like a lipstick and lip gloss combination. It's almost like a very, very hydrating lip balm, but I still think that there's enough pigmentation to categorize this as a lipstick. This specific shade actually does have some glitter in it, and you can see the glitter, but it doesn't feel gritty, and it doesn't end up just staying without the lipstick, you know? So like for instance, some glitter lipsticks, if you wipe it off, then all you see is the glitter. That doesn't happen with this one. It's just like its own full lip color. All right, I have two specific Fenty Beauty gloss bombs, and both of them are the heat ones. So they're the lip plumping ones. And this is Hot Chocolate, and this is Lemon Lava. I really love Hot Chocolate because I feel like for us medium skin toned girls and also like deep skin toned women, this is such a beautiful everyday lip gloss. It is a little bit more on the cooler brown side, but once you put it on your lips, it just looks so beautiful. And then I also have Lemon Lava because this one's a really nice topper. It's a little bit yellow, but it doesn't like translate on the lips as yellow. So it's more of like a topper. And I love this if I want a little extra sparkle. Let me put some on right now, actually. So it gives you just that extra sheen. And it looks just so plump and hydrated, and I am a big fan of this one. I feel like it's not talked about a lot. All of the Fenty glosses are amazing though. The Rare Beauty Glossy Lip Balm in the shade Nearly Neutral. I also included this in my recent favorites video, but this is a beautiful, it's a lip balm actually. I kept calling it a gloss in my video, but it's actually categorized as a balm. And this is nice because it almost feels like a lip gloss, but it is a little bit thicker like a lip balm. It has really good pigmentation to it. It's very versatile, and I feel like if you're not a fan of that lip gloss feeling, this one would be such a good option for you because it's not sticky and it does have more of a slip like a lip balm does. Next, we have the Makeup by Mario Moisture Glow in the shade Bronze Glow. It is one of those like click up ones, so you can't click it back down. So be careful whenever you're clicking it up. But this feels like a lip balm like through and through, but it has really amazing pigmentation as we have already discussed with most of the products, like most of the lip colors that I've talked about. This one does have like a cooling feeling, which is really nice. I like that feeling more than I like the hot, like plumping feeling, you know? But this is super emollient. Like you can kind of see it on the tube whenever you put it on. Like you can see a little bit of that lip product kind of just like oozing on the side because it's just that emollient. So this one definitely is kind of like a lip balm and lip gloss in one. I really love this shade. I think it's beautiful. It's a very nice wash of color and it's a very easy product to just throw on and go. This one actually does have a little bit of sparkle, but it's very sparse and you don't feel it at all. Next, we have the Tower 28 lip glosses, and this is the Shine On Lip Jelly in the shade Cashew. I feel like it's the most neutral and the most wearable for me. These are the type of lip glosses that I tend to gravitate towards. Can you see that? I hope you can. It's super opaque and it just looks like very milky as it says it is. It's more in the category that the Rare Beauty lip balm is in, where it feels a little bit like more slippy and no stickiness whatsoever. This is a really good option if you don't like sticky lip glosses. And lastly, I want to cover the only liquid lipsticks on the list. They're the Huda Beauty liquid matte lipsticks in the shade Trendsetter and the shade Venus. I believe that these were the two that I mixed on my wedding day, and it's a little bit creamy, but it's very thin. You can see on the swatches, and when you like swatch this on your hand, it looks a little moussey, but it spreads out very thin, very evenly. And I wore a mixture of these two, I think, on my wedding day, and it lasted all day. I wore this for over 12 hours. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's my wedding day lip color. And I was kissing my husband all throughout the day, as you can imagine, and it didn't wipe off or transfer onto his lips or his cheeks or anything like that. Dries down really nicely, doesn't make the lips look crusty, it doesn't accentuate your lines or anything. And if you wanted to use like a lip balm or something on top of it, it's not going to move that lipstick color, it's gonna stay put. So I really love that formulation. All right guys, and that's everything for this video. I know it was a lot of products, I apologize for that, but I hope it was helpful for you. If there are some products that you've decided with the help of this video that you're gonna pick up during the Sephora VIB sale, let me know in the comments down below. And again, if you have any questions about anything that I covered, leave those questions in the comments as well so I can get to those. Have fun shopping, guys. If you end up picking something up, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what your choices are for this sale. I actually have a wish list that I'm kind of curating as well, and I may share that at some point either on here, Instagram, or TikTok, who knows. Follow me on those socials if you want to like keep up to date with that. But yeah, if you liked this video, if you enjoyed it, or if you found it helpful, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.